Everyone knows me and Jason don't exactly get along. But every night, we end up in the same home. When we're in the heat of the moment, I see this fiery obsession in his eyes. He whispers hoarsely in my ear, "Babe, aren't you ready to give in yet?" Lately, Jason's picked up this annoying habit. He likes coming home late at night, waking me up from my sleep. This one time, he did it again, and I kicked him, annoyed. He just laughed, holding my leg. "Aren't you supposed to be happy today?" His deal fell through, so yeah, I'm happy. But that doesn't mean he can wake me up. Get off. Oh, you want to be on top? He raised an eyebrow, amused. All right. He kept me up half the night, so when my alarm went off the next morning, I didn't have the strength to open my eyes. That jerk, though, was looking all fresh, tying his tie, while teasing me, "You should work out more instead of always going against me." I threw a pillow at him. Get lost. He ducked and came over, looking at me with that mischievous glint in his eyes. I quickly wrapped myself up in the blanket, only my head sticking out. Hiding now? A bit late for that. He smirked and kissed me quickly. Don't be late for that 10 a.m. bid meeting. Oh, crap. Almost forgot. Was him being all intense last night just to make me late today? On the way to the bidding, Daisy, my assistant, kept sneaking glances at me. By the 5th time, I just had to ask, "Do I have something on my face?" Daisy shook her head and pulled a small mirror from her bag. "Stella, there's something on your neck." I checked and almost passed out. Oh, Daisy had a way with words. But you know who deserves 1,000 cuts? Jason. Left a hickey on the back of my neck. In the rush this morning, I didn't even notice. Thank God Daisy pointed it out, or I'd be showing off a hickey at a business meeting. That'd definitely make headlines since everyone thinks I'm a strong, single woman. At the meeting, I noticed Jason brought a new, sweet-looking female secretary instead of his usual male assistant. He was even pulling out a chair for her. That's interesting. Daisy noticed my staring and shared some gossip. I heard she's Jason's fiancée, his first love. They're getting married by the end of the year. Fiancé? Then what am I? Are the marriage certificates on our bedside table fake? Daisy doesn't know about our secret marriage and excitedly adds, "If Jason gets busy with a family, you can finally shine, Stella." I wasn't feeling it. I accidentally kicked the chair in front of me, startling everyone around. Someone asked, "Stella, are you all right? You don't look well." I forced a smile. "I'm fine, just need the restroom." Jason followed me. As I washed my hands, he tugged on my scarf, annoyingly smirking. "Thought you wouldn't notice, wanted to give them something interesting to see." "Oh, like your rumored wedding at the end of the year? Will I get an invite?" I taunted through the mirror. I pushed him away when he tried to hug me. "Don't, or people will think I'm shameless." He laughed, standing with his hands in his pockets. "Jealous?" I rolled my eyes. "I'd rather eat dirt than be jealous of you." Classic Stella, always level-headed. "You're too kind." Then, the woman I'd mistaken for a secretary came over. "Jason, ready?" she asked softly. "Yeah. Let's go, my uncle needs to see you." "Sure." They left arm in arm. Jason never even looked back. Unbelievable. I picked up my phone and texted him 2 words, "Divorce me." He replied quickly, "Not happening." Why is he saying no? Does he think he can have his first love and keep me, the secret wife, quiet? After the bidding, I chatted with a few folks. When I got to my car, I found Jason already inside. Daisy almost screamed, but I covered her mouth. "Don't." She nodded frantically, still shocked. "Get out," I snapped at Jason. He just lounged there, cocky, right now, with everyone watching. That'd cause quite a stir. I looked around. The meeting was letting out, and there were lots of people around. "Shameless," I spat. Jason just chuckled, adjusting his tie. When I bent down to get in, he pulled me into his lap unexpectedly. Off balance, I fell right into his hold. Daisy stood outside, wide-eyed, but at least this time, she covered her own mouth. Furious, I slapped his chest. "What's your problem?" He winced. "Really jealous now, aren't you?" "Jealous of what?" "Who?" "You know." I laughed sarcastically. Had he forgotten why we got married? Times change. "You in love with me?" "What about you?" "You wish." He smirked. "Stella, always no nonsense." Me and Jason rarely managed to have a decent conversation beyond 3 sentences outside of bed. It's either sarcastic jabs or constantly roasting each other. To outsiders, we're like fire and water, sworn enemies. Yet here I am, wrapped in Jason's arms. Through the thin fabric, I can feel his hand on my waist, burning hot. I can even recall the sensation of those hands roaming my body last night. It made my heart race, tempting me to get lost in it. Too bad, this man's heart isn't with me. I pushed him away and sat up straight, then instructed Daisy to drive me back to the office. "Jason, have lunch with me first." "Sorry, I'm really busy." "You still gotta eat." I let out a cold laugh, just about to retort. He went on, "Weren't you going to talk about the divorce?" "I rarely have time." He changes so fast. Just said he wasn't leaving, now he wants to talk. Good thing I don't have any lingering feelings for him, otherwise, this would be a real bummer. I pushed aside my tangled emotions and nodded. "Fine, let's talk." Jason was just getting a call when we reached the restaurant entrance. I accidentally glanced at the screen and saw the name, Celine. When people are head over heels in love, even a brief separation feels like forever. Jason stepped aside to take the call. Daisy quickly asked me, "Stella, are you and Jason really married?" "Yeah," I replied. Daisy's expression turned as if she'd seen a ghost. "Why are you always at each other's throats, then? And what's this about Jason getting married?" I didn't know how to respond. Because I wasn't aware of it before Daisy mentioned it. Jason and I got married for mutual benefits. I didn't have much money, and he wanted some tech. It was a purely business deal, but we couldn't trust each other completely. So Jason came up with an odd solution. Why not just get married for free? We wrote into the agreement that everything else would remain separate, except the benefits from one project we would always share. I was short on cash and didn't want to lose this upward opportunity, so after some hesitation, I agreed. Later, I suggested divorce and even offered to give up the project's future benefits. But Jason always said he was busy. So the divorce kept getting postponed, and I got tired of the back and forth. If I hadn't stumbled upon him with his first love today, hand in hand, I might have forgotten. The rumors said Jason had a long-hidden true love in his heart. He's even mumbled their name during, well, intimate times. In the restaurant, I sat across from Jason. He leisurely enjoyed his food and reminded me, "You should eat more. You're too thin. Doesn't feel good." "No worries, you'll be touching someone else soon enough," I replied. I rummaged through my emails until I found the divorce agreement from when I last brought it up. I forwarded it to Jason. "Check it over. If it's good, I'll have Daisy print it, and we can get the divorce completed soon." "In such a rush? You should be more eager than me, what with your remarriage plans by year's end." Maybe my words annoyed him, because he started getting impatient. "You're so quick to push me to someone else?" I gave a cold laugh, ready to retort, but Jason suddenly stood up. Maybe he knew nothing good would come out of my mouth. "There's a lot to do at the office. I'm leaving." As he left, he stopped by the register to pay the bill. I was both amused and angry. Do all jerks love to play the gentleman? Jason didn't come home that night. Our marriage was for business, so neither of us bothered updating the other about our whereabouts. After showering, I lay in bed. Thought I'd sleep great without him there to annoy me, but hours passed and I couldn't sleep. Jason's face kept popping up in my mind. He was infuriating in public, but privately, he treated me decently. When I was swamped at work, he'd have his assistants secretly bring me food. If I had cramps during my period, he'd rub my stomach all night. Once, I fainted while working late, and he abandoned his overseas business to fly back for me the same day. Sometimes, I can't tell if it's just business between us or if there's a bit of affection. Half awake, I heard Jason downstairs, saying, "I can't drag her into this. If I really wanted Celine, we'd already be together. Why cheat after marriage? If anything happens to me, look out for her." I wasn't sure what Jason meant, but my gut told me that her was me. What was he afraid of dragging me into? Why was he worried something might happen to him? The talking stopped, so I feigned sleep again. But Jason didn't come up right away. My phone buzzed. It was a text from his buddy Felix. "Jason and Celine are nothing. He's doing it for you." I was bewildered. What? Felix replied, "You're the one in his heart. Stop with the divorce drama. He's under a lot of stress." This left me totally puzzled. No matter how much I pressed for details, Felix ghosted me. At the same time, I heard footsteps outside the door. I hurriedly turned off my phone and shoved it under my pillow. Jason quietly opened the door and sat on the edge of the bed. The smell of cigarettes was strong. He must have smoked downstairs after his call. It's tough in business to entirely avoid smoking and drinking. But Jason usually didn't smoke at home, unless he was in a really bad mood. I hesitated, wondering if I should drop the act and ask what was wrong. But suddenly, he leaned in and kissed me hard, like he was desperate for something. My breath was snatched away, making my chest rise and fall involuntarily. He seemed rattled by something, rough in his actions. "Jason, you're hurting me." I managed, getting my hands free to push against his chest. "Stella," he murmured by my ear, his hot breath brushing my skin over and over. I was trembling all over, feeling weak, and my voice had that seductive hint, too heavy. He acted like he didn't hear it. It wasn't until he saw me frowning and struggling, tears welling up in my eyes, that he promised to behave and be a decent person. I nodded. But later that night, I kept regretting it. Why did I believe anything a guy says in bed? I almost got killed by Jason. When I woke up the next day, I was alone in the room. The spot where Jason had been lying was still warm, so he must have just gotten up. Remembering Felix's cryptic words from last night, I grabbed my phone from under the pillow and called him. As soon as he picked up, Felix jokingly said, "Of course Stella isn't an ordinary person, lasting the whole night. I thought you'd be blowing up my phone by now." It's not that I wanted to last all night. It's just that Jason showed up. Felix fell silent for a moment, then said something that shut me up. "Isn't it too early to be rubbing your romance in my face?" Even though that's not what I meant, he wasn't wrong. I didn't know how to argue back. After a few seconds of silence, I changed the subject back. "What's up with Jason? Aren't there rumors about him marrying Celine? Haven't you heard?" "Yeah, but isn't that fake?" "It is fake." "So? You know Alexander, right? He's Celine's dad. Used to be a big shot on both sides of the law. Though he cleaned up his business later, he's still got that wild side. Back in the day, when Jason's dad was alive, Jason's family was on par with Alexander. Later, Jason's dad passed. Alexander started taking over Jason's business and kept Jason under control in the name of old family ties. These past few years, Jason's attempts to break free from Alexander have pissed Alexander off multiple times. Meanwhile, Alexander's daughter Celine is head over heels for Jason and said she won't marry anyone else. Alexander hinted that if Jason won't be his son-in-law, he'll end up with nothing. But secretly, Jason married me. He said the marriage was for a project that promised huge profits, giving him the leverage against Alexander. Yet, when I was willing to give up all my gains just to divorce him, he refused. I should have known then, it wasn't the project he wanted, it was me. Jason's acting was just too good. He pretended to be at odds with me, fooling not just me, but Alexander and his daughter too. Am I really that important to Jason? After breakfast, I went to Jason's office for the first time since we got married, and it was for personal reasons. Jason had just finished a meeting and didn't look happy. But the second he saw me, he put on a smile. Stella, why the sudden visit? You should have called, I would have come down to greet you myself. You, personally? Then I wouldn't have the chance to catch you in the act, would I? Even though we have a prenup and other agreements, if you make a major mistake during our marriage, I'll be entitled to more in the divorce, right? Hearing this, Jason's assistant hadn't left the office yet, and looked as shocked as if he'd seen a ghost in broad daylight. Jason stared at me for a long time, then chuckled softly. He leaned back against his desk with his arms crossed, then gave his assistant a look to leave. Once the office door closed, leaving just the two of us, Jason spoke. I thought we weren't going public? Didn't you sneak into my car last time? That's different. How so? I walked over, mimicking his posture, and leaned there too. Jason tilted his head, glancing down, his eyes suddenly darkened. He let his hands fall, one reaching for the phone line and the other wrapping around me. He instructed over the phone, I have to discuss something with Stella. Don't let anyone in. Understood. Then, Jason tightened his grip, pulling me close again. Looking into my eyes, he asked with a smile, need my help with something? Whenever I needed his help before, I'd always give him a little something in return. I thought he was like other men, driven by desire. Even if there was no love, it was still hard to resist. Thinking back now, since we got married, apart from business occasions, he hadn't been seen in those kind of places. I'd overlooked that. He never brought it up either. I looked up at him and bluntly asked, Jason, do you like me? The office was quiet, sunlight streaming in through the windows behind him, making the room bright and warm. Jason looked at me deeply, and the tenderness in his eyes was almost overwhelming. Just when I thought I'd get an answer, we heard Celine and the secretary talking outside. Celine, Jason's busy, you can't go in. I called Jason this morning, he said he was free after his 10:30 meeting. Miss Celine, you. Celine's here? I hadn't confirmed Jason's feelings or talked about going public. Plus, with someone like Alexander, planning is crucial before confronting them. Jason and I shared a glance, mutually understanding the unspoken in each other's eyes. So when Celine walked in and saw us, Jason and I were having one of our usual passive-aggressive arguments. Jason, don't you think you're being a little insincere saying that? Jason sneered, I've already made many concessions, Stella. Just because you're a woman, don't push it. Using gender to make a point is for the weak. Am I weak, or do you know best, Stella? This jerk. If it wasn't for Celine being here, I'd give him a piece of my mind. Seeing I was annoyed, Jason made a small, suggestive gesture under the table. Of course, Celine couldn't see that from where she stood. Celine had come to see Jason for lunch. To give them some privacy, I figured I'd just leave. But then Jason suddenly stopped me, Stella, join us for lunch. Celine stepped up to me, pretending to be friendly as she looped her arm with mine. The last time I saw Stella, I felt such a connection. I'm happy for the chance to have lunch with you today. If she wasn't gripping my arms so hard with her nails that I was almost wincing, I might have believed her act. She was clearly trying to put on a show of being composed and generous for Jason's benefit. But hey, I'm naturally rebellious. If she doesn't want me there, well, that's exactly where I'll be. Sure. I smiled at her and Jason, accepting the invitation. Jason looked genuinely happy. But Celine was secretly fuming. That's why they say, never try to fake being generous. It only makes you miserable. I had a feeling Jason had his own reasons for inviting me to lunch. But I didn't expect him to be this bold. Celine was sitting right next to us, yet there Jason was, nudging my leg with his shoe under the table. While Celine wasn't looking, I shot him a glare. But that didn't stop him, he just got bolder. He even texted me, was last night tiring? Enough was enough. I gave his leg a good kick back. Jason let out a low grunt. What's wrong? Celine asked, concerned. Jason's face turned red from the pain, but he couldn't tell the truth. He just lied, saying he bit his tongue. I'm not sure if Celine had already suspected something was up with us or if Jason and I really overstepped. Once Jason went to the restroom, Celine turned serious with me. Stella, I hope you can stay away from Jason in the future. Why? Because we're about to get married. Really? I looked her straight in the eyes. Maybe my gaze was too intense, making her uneasy. Celine got a bit defensive, saying, "It's not public yet, but it's practically a done deal." Well, then wait till you make it public. Why do this? Because Jason is exceptional, and I want a fair competition, don't you? Celine seemed pretty upset, dropping her usual polished demeanor as she gritted out, "Stella, do you have to get between Jason and me?" What do you mean get between you two? Didn't you just say nothing's official yet? Mainly, I want to hear it from Jason. Then I will let you hear it from him directly. Celine seemed confident. When Jason came back, she threw me a cocky look first. Then she asked him, "Have you thought about the wedding?" My dad and uncle think December 28th is a good day. Jason subtly moved away from her and replied, "You're getting married? Congrats. Stella and I will be sure to attend your wedding." I choked on my juice. I had been hoping to see Jason fluster, but instead, it was me who ended up looking foolish. I honestly didn't expect him to put Celine in such a tough spot. Didn't Felix say if he didn't marry Celine, Alexander would come after me? So, does Jason not care about my well-being now? I glanced at him confusedly, and he just gave me a playful wink. Celine was so mad, she grabbed her bag and stormed off. I wanted to laugh but managed to first ask, "Aren't you worried she'll tell her dad about how you treated her?" Jason, "Well, it's you her dad wants to deal with, not me." Fine, let him eat alone then. I was ready to leave too, but then Jason suddenly grabbed my wrist. "What? Come here. What do you want now?" "Just want to give you a hug." This was the first time Jason and I had hugged in public. Although others in the restaurant probably saw us as just another couple, my heart was racing. Jason mischievously whispered, "What, you're all excited just from a hug? You're asking for it." Ignoring my threat, Jason chuckled, "Heading out for a business trip this afternoon, back in about a week." "Where to?" "France." "Oh." Jason seemed like he wanted to say something else, but he hesitated and kept quiet. I had things I wanted to ask too. But with our surroundings, it wasn't the right time to talk business or feelings. All those unsaid words and unspoken thoughts would have to wait till he got back. The second day Jason was on his trip, I got a text from Celine. It was a photo of her and Jason in France. Judging by the angle, she must have secretly taken it behind him. With a line below it, "The one standing by his side can only be me." Even though it wasn't face to face, I could imagine Celine's smug look as she sent it. Originally worried about Alexander, I didn't want to clash with her. But since she kept provoking me, mistaking me for an easy target, I wasn't going to hold back anymore. I quickly posted the picture I secretly took of Jason sleeping the night before and captioned it, "Celine, doesn't Jason look much more handsome in this picture than in yours?" Celine didn't reply. I'm guessing she's fuming. But I didn't feel triumphant inside. On the surface, it seems like I won this round, but it's Celine who's actually with Jason right now. He had a chance to tell me before he left, but he didn't. So, was everything before just a lie? Feeling irritable, I picked up my phone to call Jason. But Alexander's call came through first. "Do you have a moment? I need to talk to you." Considering Alexander's influence, I was pretty polite. "Alexander, are you asking to meet for business or personal reasons?" "Personal," Alexander replied directly. Since that's the case, I figured, might as well face it head on. I agreed and went to meet him on time. However, things didn't go as I expected. Before I saw Alexander, I was confronted by a bunch of menacing guys. They took control of me. Their leader snapped a picture and sent it to Jason. Less than 3 seconds later, Jason called. But the kidnappers didn't answer. Jason called again, and they hung up once more. Quickly, Jason caught on and phoned Alexander. "Uncle, whatever it is, we can work it out. Kidnapping is illegal." "Alexander, kidnapping? I have no idea what you're talking about." Jason sneered, "Don't tell me Stella getting kidnapped has nothing to do with you." Alexander kept feigning ignorance. "Stella got kidnapped? No wonder I've been waiting so long and haven't seen her." After provoking Jason, Alexander laughed even more. "Jason, I watched you grow up, you know me, and I know you. You know what I want. Do you find it amusing to force someone to marry your daughter?" Alexander ignored his jab and gave him 2 options. "Either marry Celine, or come back and collect your dear one's body." I never imagined Jason would do something so insane for me. Alexander had kidnapped me. He then kidnapped Celine. Alexander only has one daughter, Celine. He wouldn't dare let anything happen to her. Because she's been so indulged all her life, she thinks feelings can be forced. But this tactic just doesn't work on Jason. He said if I died, he'd take Celine down with him, to be by my side in the afterlife. Alexander almost had a heart attack and, in the end, had to compromise for Celine's safety. But because Jason was overseas and couldn't pick me up himself, he sent Felix to make sure I was safe. Felix, concerned about any inconvenience, brought a girl along. As it turned out, when they arrived, the tough guys who kidnapped me graciously escorted me out. Felix, with a twitch of a smile, called Jason, "We got her, she's fine, don't worry." I wasn't sure what Jason said, but Felix gave me a strange look. Afraid Felix would hang up, I quickly signaled for some words with Jason. Felix handed over the phone. I was calm at first, but speaking up, the fear hit, and my voice choked. "Hello." In the background of the call, an airport announcement urged boarding. Jason said, "Stella, don't worry. I'll be back soon." "Okay." On the way back, the girl Felix brought kept chatting with me. Eventually, we discussed my relationship with Jason. She said, "When Jason called Felix, I thought it was the end of the world, never seen him so anxious." Felix glanced at me in the rearview mirror and nodded, as if to convince me. I believed them. Before they arrived, I used the kidnapper's phone to answer a call from Alexander. He asked what I did to Jason. What it took for him to give up everything, even risk his life, just to protect me. I had no answer. But deep inside, it felt like a voice was saying, "Must be deeply, deeply in love." Felix and his friends stayed until Jason returned before leaving. Jason looked exhausted, his eyes bloodshot. He explained that this deal could only succeed with his presence, but he feared Alexander would target me. So he deliberately took Celine along. By holding Alexander's most cherished daughter, he had leverage if things turned critical. Even if negotiations failed, it'd be all or nothing. That was Jason's plan. I didn't know. Alexander had no clue. His father and daughter even thought Jason taking Celine on the trip was a sign of compromise. Until Celine felt snubbed overseas and discovered her passport missing. That's when she realized her assumed first love with Jason was merely daily endurance from him. Jason witnessed Alexander slowly taking over his business but still had to call him Uncle Alexander. Just for the chance, one day, to bring Alexander down. And I wasn't part of his original plan. In the beginning, he was using me too. Until the time he had a car accident in the early hours, and I went rushing over in my robe, without even changing clothes. On my feet were just home slippers. When I got there, I wandered around like a headless chicken, searching for him. I ended up crying because I couldn't find it on time. At that moment, Jason realized my feelings for him weren't as indifferent as I pretended. I like him, but I'm too scared to admit it. I'm afraid he only uses me, afraid that the one who loves first, loses. But Jason isn't scared. He hugged me, a small smile on his face. I should have told you the answer last time. What? Stella, I like you. He had been so lonely all these years, stumbling alone in the darkness. He never imagined someone out there would care about him. After our deal began, even after knowing he was using me, I secretly liked him. The more I tried to hide my feelings, the more genuine they became. So, you figured me out a long time ago, didn't you? Jason nodded. Then why didn't you bring it up sooner? I was afraid you'd run away. Also, I was afraid that once it was out in the open, we'd get too close. If that happened, Alexander might notice something, and things wouldn't go smoothly. 3 days later, Alexander's company got hit with a tax scandal. The astronomical numbers shocked everyone and stirred public anger. The company was shut down, and Alexander and his daughter were taken away. Everyone said Alexander, once so successful, collapsed overnight. But I knew it wasn't overnight. Especially for Jason, it was a 15-year battle. He gathered evidence bit by bit, just to deal a fatal blow to Alexander at the right moment. Originally, in his plan, if he dragged it out another 6 months, the odds would be in his favor. But then Alexander went after me. So, he decided to close in early. In the glow of the setting sun, I leaned lazily in Jason's arms and asked him with a smile. Aren't you afraid the evidence might fall short, that instead of striking him down, you'd provoke him to retaliate against you? I was afraid, that's why I acted. Afraid he'd hurt you again. For the past 15 years, Jason wanted just one thing, to reclaim his inheritance. But now, he has a second goal. Felix once asked me what my plans were after taking down Alexander. I couldn't answer back then, felt like life didn't have much joy. Until you came along. Jason took my hand, interlocking our fingers. And then he said, word by word. Stella, I want to love you well. That's what he wants to do moving forward. My heart raced, almost beyond what my body could handle. My voice trembled slightly, but I haven't loved you properly. The feelings I buried deep were ones he discovered himself. I didn't even say I like you out loud. But Jason didn't care at all. He leaned his forehead against mine, his voice unbelievably gentle. Maybe because I've never been loved, I don't ask much from you. Stella, just a little love from you is enough. Someone who's always been lonely doesn't dare to hope for much. But he had no idea how much those words impacted me. I choked up suddenly. Jason. What is it? I will love you well too. So your life has love and answers.